while we're talking about Chris Holtmann, let's topic shift a little bit here. What do you think on the whole, or even just most recently, the most impressive thing that he and his staff have done this year, considering what they've accomplished so far, 14-4, and kind of the stretch they're coming off of here in January?
I would say it's probably the most impressive thing I think they've done is understanding personnel and understanding how certain matchups trend in their favor. And I think it's you come to that understanding a couple different ways. One of which I think is something that is increasingly rare in coaching. You have to have a certain sense of humility, I think, as a coaching staff, to understand that certain maybe ways to attack teams are maybe not in your best interest, given how you maybe have been playing or trending in a certain way over the last couple weeks or whatever. But it also means that you have an extremely keen sense and awareness of certain guys in your team, what their strengths are, what their weaknesses are, and then how you can accentuate and support those strengths. And that is something that we've seen bits and pieces and flashes of from Chris Holtmann coach teams for a long time now, even back, at his time at Butler. And then I would even make the case you could go back even further, Gardner-Webb, that was something that they were really good at. That they had their core group and they knew who their go-to guys were, but those guys, they could put them in positions, different games, depending on the matchup, in positions to succeed. And so we're seeing that now at a really high level, a consistent level with Ohio State. And that's been absolutely massive for this team. That's not necessarily depending upon one guy, like a Keita Bates-Diop, for example, to go out and get you, 25 plus points. Now it's like, hey, we know that we have a couple matchups that we like, and we're going to go to those over and over and over again and get results.
I think to that point, the ability to navigate through this point guard challenge they've had this year, where CJ
That's
Walker,
the best example of it. Yeah.
I mean, CJ Walker misses 4 games, and even when he comes back, he's playing regularly, but he's not at the same level that I think he expects, or really that he flashed last year. And combine it with the fact that in the first game that he misses, Jimmy Sotos dives for a loose ball at midcourt with a handful of seconds left in the Rutgers game, and he messes up his shoulder, and he's missed 6 or 7 games now, whatever it is. So all of a sudden, Michi Johnson, who they basically had to convince to early enroll at Ohio State after Michi
should be in high school right now.
Well, yeah, and originally Michi said, "No, I'm going to play high school basketball," and then decided, "Okay, I'll come." Boy, what a blessing to have him now. But again, to your point, understanding that Justice Suing, who wasn't a point guard and was playing in the Pac-12 in a league that is far less physical than the Big Ten, to have last year to basically be on the bench and learn the team and be around because he chose to transfer, and now this year he's thrust into a role that there's no way he saw coming when he came here. And frankly, I think Justice has played pretty well. It hasn't been perfect, but man, for a guy to run the offense the way he's done it, I've been pretty impressed with him. Dwayne Washington's been okay. He has his games where you watch him and think, okay, wow, this guy can really, really light it up. But boy, the last 3 games offensively, not good. I mean, he's 5 for his last 30 shooting the ball. And frankly, it feels like 5 for his last 300. There's just times he shoots the ball and you're like, nope, that's not going in. And it's not a knock against him. I know he works hard. I know Chris Holtmann loves the guy, but it was pretty straightforward. He said he's going to kill me. He's turning my hair gray.
Send him to an early death. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was the exact verbiage.
Uh-huh. I would say he's the only guy on that team that presses at times.
Yeah, I think so.
And I think that's because he and EJ Liddell are probably the 2 guys that Chris Holtmann has laid an expectation for them to go and hunt shots. And I think it's easier if you're a big to do that at times, because it's okay for you to hunt a shot with your back to the basket. It's a little bit harder, I think, when you're a guard, given the lack of space on the floor, and you have a tendency to go further out from the hoop to maybe try and find someone and then hope you throw a couple in. But like, I think it's interesting too, the ebbs and flows of how Dwayne's maybe ups and downs have not trended or affected the rest of the team. Despite his maybe cold shooting touch, the rest of the team is really shooting exceptionally well. And I think that kind of speaks to what I was saying earlier about, having Chris Holtmann and the coaching staff having a really good finger on the pulse of this team, knowing that they're able to coach up those guys individually and say, yeah, like even if he's down, we can still collectively pick him up. And that's huge. That's huge. Because how many times have we seen college basketball teams during the regular season have these guys, these go-to guys, and they go and they play really well. They have huge stats, and they get to the tournament, and all of a sudden it just doesn't happen. And then you're 4, 5, 6 guys, on the scoring, kind of tally, or in the stat sheet, can't go out and find it because they were never asked to at any point during the regular season. That's not something that this Ohio State team is going to have to deal with, and that'll suit them, in a massively positive way come tournament time.
Dwayne Washington on the year is 14.5 per game. But again, the last 3 games, he's just 5 of 30 from the floor. But I will give him a lot of credit for his pretty impressive free throw shooting numbers. He's at 90% on the year, 54 out of 60. And believe it or not, that's the second best on the team. CJ Walker has missed 1 free throw, 49 of 50. He's 98%, one of the top couple free throw shooters in the country.
And if I was Chris Holtmann, I guarantee he's doing this. I would be telling Dwayne to get to the line as much as humanly possible, and almost be looking for some of that contact, because it's like, okay, yeah, maybe you're not shooting it super well from 3. Maybe you're not getting as clean a looks as you would like to really kind of feel like you're setting a foundation then to go forward into February. Let's get you to the line where we know you're exceptionally efficient, and let that boost our confidence, and hope that kind of trickles out to some of the other parts of scoring.
Yeah, he's played 18 games and he's shot 60 free throw attempts. So we're talking roughly 3 foul shots on average per game, right? That's for somebody
that's okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's fine, but if you can get that to 4, 5, or 6 a game here in the second half of the season, with the way he efficiently scores, you're going to steal some points. So
yeah, exactly.
I agree with that for sure.